the younger sister deliberately pushed the flower basket into the man's arms. She wanted to force the woman to marry him and make her a public joke, but she had no idea. The man was actually the heir of a wealthy corporation experiencing life undercover. Completely unaware, the sister rushed to her mother and exposed the man as a temporary worker on the spot. However, the father scolded the woman for being mentally unstable. The sister then pretended to comfort the woman. At that moment, the man's assistant advised him to throw away the flower basket before it caused trouble, but the man said self-deprecatingly that he was just an unwanted temp. No one would fall for someone like him, but before he could finish, the woman walked up to him because she remembered she had married the factory director's son in her past life. On the surface, she lived a happy life, but she was constantly tormented by him and was eventually pushed off a cliff by her jealous sister. Somehow both of them were reborn. Back to the day of picking a husband with a flower basket, the sister rushed ahead and picked the factory director's son, then deliberately pushed the woman, causing her flower basket to land in the man's arms. But the woman looked at him and asked, "Would you be willing to marry me?" The man froze in shock, seeing she wasn't after his money. He agreed without hesitation. The father saw how determined the woman was and reluctantly gave in. Soon it was the wedding day. 5 days later, the factory director's son arrived in a car to pick up the sister. The neighbors all looked on with envy, while the man came alone on an old bike. The sister couldn't help but mock the woman, and the parents were full of disdain toward the man, but the woman ignored them and went home with the man. As soon as they sat down, the man pulled out an heirloom bracelet. He said it was his late mother's most treasured possession, and he was giving it to her as a wedding gift. Little did she know the bracelet was not only expensive, but also a symbol of his wealthy identity. Soon it was time for the woman to visit her parents' home. She was about to leave with the man, but saw luxury cars lined up at the door. The people inside got out and greeted the man with respect. To keep his identity hidden, he told her they were just his friends. She said she would go ahead and wait for him at her parents' house. After she left, the man learned that the old master was seriously ill and hospitalized, so he told his assistant to prepare gifts for his in-laws, and he rushed to the hospital himself. Meanwhile, the woman returned to her parents' home, only to find her parents happily entertaining the factory director's son. Her father smashed the 2 bottles of wine she brought and slapped her across the face in anger. The sister then grabbed the bracelet from her hand to humiliate her and said since the woman liked giving wine, she should get a proper taste of it. She ordered the others to smash the bottles and said if the woman crawled over the shards, she'd return the bracelet to her, knowing it was the only thing left from the man's mother. The woman agreed without hesitation. Meanwhile, the man rushed over with his people. By then the woman had already crawled over the glass and retrieved the bracelet, but the sister still insulted her and even threatened to hit her. Just as she raised her hand, the man arrived in time with his friends